12:30 o'clock on January 3, 2020 in the village of Muong Than Commune, Than Uyen District, Lai Chau Province. The victim's name is Ma Vang, born in 1998, residing in a PowerPoint version, Phuc Khoa Commune, Than Uyen District, carrying an amount of 14 million dong, went to buy pigs in the area of the Uyen District and then went missing. Through an autopsy, it was discovered that the victim had a cut in the neck that cut a vein. An injury caused by a hard object from the right head to break the skull, shows that the perpetrator committed the crime with a very rubbery malignancy. Yes, sir, it was determined that on the day of about 12 noon on December 30th, this golden man went out of the house and was in a car, motorcycle and carrying money, along with a mobile phone. A team directly working, determined this was a murder case. The subject used a stick to repeatedly hit the victim's neck, then dragged him and threw him to the edge of the forest. After seeing the victim dying, the subject continued to cut the victim's throat with a knife and then took all of the victim's belongings. Immediately after the case happened, the provincial agency mobilized the maximum functional force. The main owner was the Criminal Police Department of the Provincial Police with the participation of the Criminal Technical Department of the Police District and Uyen District, Than Uyen District. Work instantaneously. Information about the case quickly spread to the whole province of Lai Chau. People talked about the murder and robbery case. It must be said that this is not the first time that a murder case has happened in the locality, but the case this happened again on the occasion of the Lunar New Year, so there was confusion in public opinion about the recklessness and daring of the killer. The killer who killed people was so cruel, so brutal, so barbaric, always cold-blooded. I have never seen anything like this. Kill so much, beat so much, request the state to handle it very high so that people can rest assured. Those who kill people come back. My friends are very sad. The case is unknown. The scene was in the forest on the mountain, so there were almost no witnesses. In addition, the large and complex terrain made tracing traces and evidence even more difficult. Undeterred, continuing to expand the scene, the investigative agency seized a knife and a black mask. Most likely the tool of the crime was the knife because it matched the injury on the head area of the victim. After one night of investigating the crime scene, I collected and discovered all the traces and evidence directly related to the case, which is very important. It was the knife that was used to cut the victim's throat. A piece of stick used to strike the victim's head. And killing school in this case divided into two areas, and we are certain that it took place in two stages. Thus the case with secret number 0121 was established. And through the initial investigation, the investigating agency learned that on December 30th, 2020 the victim brought money in a motorbike to buy pigs and could not be contacted. After that, the victim's family and functional forces organized a search for several days, but it was not until noon on January 3rd that the victim's body was discovered. Is this a first-round case or multiple subjects caused by the autopsy? Murder, or the case of murder and robbery. But why only take the victim's money? But the valuable property is the motorbike at the scene, but it is not lost? The sentencing committee has mobilized nearly 200 officers and soldiers, divided into 12 working groups, including the Criminal Police, the Criminal Technical Department of the Than Uyen District Police, and the Than Uyen District Police. Different directions to find clues of the case, where this murder and robbery case is happening, bordering between the Uyen District, Than Uyen District and Quyen Hai District of Phuc Khoa Province. Is a remote area, few people pass through, few people live and reside, so people who know things, people to testify and those who know information are almost non-existent. Activities of tracing perpetrators of serious crimes where graphs are convenient in gathering information, having cameras, witness statements, and recording videos of people in public places. Working on high mountains and deep abysses doesn't have those things. Not to mention that the understanding of customs and habits of ethnic minorities still has many limitations. Difficulties pile up on difficulties. The case committee is arranged on the one hand. One task force scoured the crime scene for any clues that were suspicious. On the other hand, a follow-up team focused on monitoring the victim's relationships prior to being killed. Paying particular attention to the subject was traveling with the victim near the time of the victim's murder. Reviewing all records of subjects with previous criminal records, gambling, drug, human trafficking, or suspected crimes. The director of the Provincial Police Department sent many working groups to verify. Specifically a task force to mobilize the people in neighboring communes to detect the subject following the victim, or detect clues related to the victim to recover service for the investigation process. A group of scouts are sent to the victim's home to determine the relationship such as family identity, conflicts such as family relationship, identity, or love relationship. The head of the port village of Phuc Khoa Commune, Than Uyen District, who is older than the victim's family, said that the Golden Sagittarius is married and has 2 small children. The Golden brother and his wife live very happily. Buying and selling buffaloes and cows for sale does not rule out the possibility that the murder comes from a conflict in business or a conflict due to personal hatred leading to murder, so the investigation agency has kept the list. The subjects often have a business relationship with the victim. At the same time, the Criminal Technical Department protected the special team with the results of the blood traces seized at the scene. This is one of the very important information because it cannot be ruled out that during the struggle with the victim, the injured subject was assisted by a delay in admission and was very quick in the results of Muong Than and demonstrated on the knife, the mask on the stick. She looked at the victim's wallet and on the gloves, both found marks. DNA traces of the victim blood traces seized at the scene made the blood of the victim, not the blood of the perpetrator, so matchmaking at the scene did not have any traces to trace the culprit of the case. Besides, the victim's family also doesn't know where the victim went to buy words from anyone, whose name is nowhere, but only in the Uyen District as evidence that the victim's phone at the scene is no longer available or contacted. Okay, so I don't know who was the last contact with the victim, but now it's becoming very vague for me. Must solve the case in the shortest time is the drastic direction of the Board of Directors of Lai Chau Province Police, because from the time the victim disappeared to the time the victim's body was discovered, it was Thursday. It is possible the statue has moved out of Lai Chau Province. Each member of the special team at this time has not dared to rest because if left for a long time, the subject will be lost or he will continue to commit the crime, which is very dangerous. Under the direction of the Special Project Committee, Comrade Colonel Pham Hai Dang, Deputy Director of the Provincial Police Department, the head of the Police Investigation Agency, sent many working groups, including one to verify the victim's personal relationship, business relationship, and pay special attention to the subjects related to criminal subjects. We went to the victim's location, determined that the victim was right to have a business relationship, and through the areas of Van Van Lao Cai, Mu King Chai Yen Bai of Sun La, the working groups were verified very well. Step up the work of grasping the situation. There is a contradiction that has emerged that is of interest to the crime-solving force, that there was a dispute between Mr. Vang and a villager in the past. Although the matter has been resolved, its consequences cannot be ruled out. That's why the same man was invited to the police station, to check the time of ignorance. However, there was nothing suspicious. Because of the time the victim was killed, he was drinking with some people in the village. In addition, the review by subject, which is carried out in parallel with all those who are suddenly absent or have unusual symptoms over 30 rooftops of the Huanan village, Phuc Khoa Commune, Than Uyen District, are allowed. Hypothesis about the nature of the case of murder and robbery with contradictions was eliminated. With this statement, the committee has put forward many theories. In addition, very few people know about the time when the victim left the house, so the information reflected is where the victim went. The investigation and verification will also be affected a lot. At the same time, the victim's wife met the investigator because she recalled a detail that the husband, before leaving the house, said he was going to buy pigs from a man named Vin in the Uyen District, because she was cooking rice in the kitchen and the baby was crying again, so she couldn't hear it well. Having obtained this very important detail, a scouting team exported all the members of the household that raised pigs for sale in the Uyen District named Vin. This is the closing ceremony to open the secret door of the case. It is likely that the killer has prepared in advance, not a normal robbery and murder. But when the Trin group discovered that all people named Vin or born in the Uyen District had pigs for sale, no one had such a name. Undeterred with the spirit of resolutely fighting crime, the investigators of the special case team persevered, from the crime scene, to the victim's house, day and night, gathering all information from all those involved. The subject has many suspicious points. From December 30th, 2020 to January 3rd, the investigating force cooperates with the police of neighboring districts to organize a village meeting to launch a mass movement to denounce crimes, and from this, a very valuable source of information was provided. Members of the project committee reported information about more than 12 hours on a day off, 30 days off. Point 12, at the junction between National Highway 32 and the road to Muong Than Commune, people discovered and recorded that one person was wearing a red coat. According to residents, this person appears to be a courier and has a red team, wearing a black fashion scarf at the T-junction area and has talked to the victim, then went in the direction of Muong Than Commune and the subject also followed. During movement to participate in denouncing crimes, especially the extraction of security cameras of households along the route where the crime occurred, it was from the camera of a household with a business and building materials that we discovered important traces of the suspect. This detail helps the crime solving force to pay special attention, continuing to check from the area of Muong Than Commune where the suspect meets the victim, expanded to 10 communes and one remaining town in the Uyen District with the characteristics that the people provided were the suspect wearing a red shirt riding a Yamaha motorcycle, on the other hand a reconnaissance team coordinated with the police department. Traffic police of Lai Chau Province tried to find out who is using a Yamaha motorcycle with the same characteristics as the person who needs to be declared in the province. From here, the project committee identified the owner of the blue Yamaha motorbike of an object named Phu who is observant there is Ho Van Sin, born in 1992, residing in the village of the Uyen District. The investigator went down to the house to give birth to confirm the birth and with his wife, they rode a motorbike to escape. Then this is an addict, frequents the area and has a relationship with the victim. Recently, the subject went to work in Hanoi City and according to people provided, the subject working as a courier in Hanoi. The basis for resuscitation has existed. The project committee has mobilized many team leaders to distribute barricades on all traffic routes in and out of the Uyen District to catch up, if the birth suddenly returns. Besides, the specialization committee also did not rule out the possibility that Sin escaped to China by informal means, so he coordinated with the border guards of Lai Chau Province throughout the border journey. At the same time, the deputy director of Lai Chau Province's police department asked the criminal police department and the Hanoi police to work together to urgently arrest a particularly dangerous person who is likely to flee from Lai Chau Province. Hanoi. Having worked as a shipper in Hanoi City for a while, Sin was very knowledgeable in every corner. Many times the task group arrived at the place Sin was present. It seems that Sin had sniffed the movements of the investigating agency. The subject moved by motorbike to another location. At the same time, a rotating reconnaissance team continued to follow the clues that were Sin's acquaintances during the process of being a shipper in Hanoi, the criminal police department. Lai Chau Provincial Police coordinated with Section 6 of the C021 Department of the Police to identify the subject hiding in the area of Long Bien District, Hanoi. This subject used to live and work under Hanoi, so he is very proficient in the area. According to the table, the scout had to follow the object for a long time to identify the object, determined that if not quickly caught, Sin would continue to move and escape to another province. And then it is difficult to trace him, so that the special committee decided to cast the net. After catching the object of that struggle, at first the object was very crooked, making false statements, but with a fierce struggle. Finally, the subject did not bow his head to confess. At the police station, Sin initially declared because he was addicted to drugs but had no money. The subject planned to kill people and rob property. The target victim was Ma Vang, with whom he acted as a broker to buy pigs. At noon on December 30th, Sin called before the victim to say he had pigs for sale. Believing Sin's word, he followed the address it gave him. Around 13 o'clock on the same day, he met the subject born in the hilly area of the village, that is, in Muong Than Commune, the Uyen District. This place is empty of people. When seeing the victim not paying attention on his birthday, the log on the side of the road hit him on the back of his neck, was hit suddenly. The victim fainted. The subject saw that the victim was still breathing, immediately took the child. Knife in hand, cut the victim's throat, pulled the victim's throat into a deep trench to cover the forest leaves. The subject then searched for about 14 million DND and threw the victim's phone over the cliff and fled down the cliff. Hanoi. In this case, we mobilized at some point about 200 officers and soldiers of the professional departments of the provincial police and the Uyen District Police. The important thing is to have the coordination of the criminal police department strengthen the coordination. The Institute of Criminal Science and Hanoi City Police. Finally, it can be assessed that there must be close guidance with the motto set out in the process of investigating the case and must investigate deeply and verify carefully, objectively, and arrest Van Sin's subjects done in a very short time. The right person, the right person, the right person, the right law, has ensured the three factors that are political, legal, and professional knowledge. If the killer is caught, people I went with great enthusiasm and peace of mind. The thought work of the chicks was not disturbed but left to fluctuate production to go to work, but before it could not be distributed, The chicks were also very excited, but now, people are very stable, peace of mind, always working at the press conference. The director of the Lai Chau Province Police Nguyen Viet Jong highly appreciated the sense of responsibility in denouncing crimes with the help of the local people. At the same time, he also suggested that the investigative agency urgently deploy and bring the subject out for serious handling before the law. The Northwest Mountains and forests contain complexities in many areas, and security and order is no exception. This is a complex local case. The point of the murder in a low-traffic area, the subject's crime was a very thug, had prepared in advance, only resisted for 5 days, the case was solved, the subject had to bow his head to confess again. Affirmed the resolute spirit of fighting and suppressing all kinds of criminals, creating the public's confidence in the Lai Chau police force.